Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. This shiur is sponsored by the Wood Eisenbergs. This whole week's shiur, some of the Wood Eisenbergs in Lulu Nishmas Chaim Al Shalom Ben Shimon Yisrael Halevi Shichya. They should have all the schusim our learning and the ability of making this possible with the donation that keeps the lights on. You should have all the schusim, and the neshama should have the biggest schus of us learning Torah. Nothing better than this, and even more. It's not just Torah, it's Torah Chassidus, which is the neshama of the Torah. What better thing can we get than this? So yeah, in Mitzvah Hashem should have all the aliyahs. Okay, we have 2 more days left to finish up this sugya. Basically, we're discussing the issue, and everybody's going to go into a lot of details in the next 2 days about the issues of being a shapsala. So we talked about this, it's good for bringing yesterday, how it's so important that the way we look at ourselves is that to do something wrong is to pass. It's unbefitting of me. I'm a chassid of the Rebbe. It's like there's a famous story about this, I forgot his name. He was like in the government it was in Latvia. It was chassid. It wasn't a Lubavitch chassid. It was a chassidish yid. And he had a lot of Avos Yisrael, and he helped a lot of the Yidden. So at one point, something happened. I remember the whole story. And he was trying to find a place. It was like it was winter, and he was stuck, cold winter night. And he came to like a town, and he found a bed, apartment, like someone's house. I knocked on the door. The guy didn't want to let him in. It was a Yid. Didn't want to let him in. I don't know who you are. He's like and so he was like, you know what? I'm done. Like I can't. Like he can't go any further. And he was like, this is what I'm dying on this guy's steps. And as he was thinking this, he said, 1 second, what's going to be tomorrow? He said, tomorrow I'm going to be, Pastor Shalom, I'm going to be dead on the floor. And this guy's going to feel so bad. Have some obviously solve for the guy. So he got himself up and he got himself extra power, extra strength to be able to survive the night, just so the other guy wouldn't suffer. And but this is an attitude that he has, and this is an attitude that we all have to produce within us. Not necessarily in exactly this way, but the attitude of I'm a shliach of the Rebbe. You know, I'm a yid, and this is how we have to walk with this proudness. And the Rebbe is going to discuss the unfortunate opposite situation that in our generation exists, this sheep mentality. But when we come with this mentality of having pride, Jewish pride, it expresses itself in everything. We don't do, when it comes to an Avera, how can I do this Avera? Me? You know who I am? I'm a Yid. It doesn't make sense that a Yid would do such a thing. Me to do such a thing? It can't be. And like we said the story about yesterday, that this is a very beautiful idea. It's a very beautiful idea. And the way we look at that situation, we're not bad people that sometimes do good things. We're essentially good people. And sometimes we let our Yetzer Hara take over. And we have enough Bahamas. We have to, but who are we good? So then when we remind ourselves this, hey, I'm a good person. Why am I doing this? This is not me. You know, have you ever done anything that's like it's so not me? It's like, what was I doing? What was I thinking? This is how it is all the time. Now, it could be that you're always doing these things. But just remind yourself who you really are. You're nefesh elikis, and this is who I essentially am. And connect to that. So it doesn't make sense that I should be doing this. Yes, I've been doing this every day for the last 10 years. This doesn't define who I am. Who am I? I'm a nefesh elikis. I'm a nefesh elikis, and this is not what I do. Unfortunately, I do it sometimes, or I do it every day, but that's not who I am. Well, I'm a nefesh elikis, and really, it's unbefitting for me as a nefesh elikis to do such a thing. Yeah, and this is a lifelong terrain that we could have, and this is life changing, and this is a very important way to look at ourselves. So Zayin. I think we have to Vav. Okay. This idea of the scattered Jewish people being like a sheep that's scattered, shall had kifus, meaning that it comes with a lack of like strength. This is such a bad state, even when it comes to chinuch, to education, of our children, shehem tikvas v'yisoid beis called bayis v'chol am Yisrael, which is the foundation and the hope and the what's going to sustain the Jewish people is the children. Misgala hedat kifus. This lack of pride is lacking. What the Rebbe is saying is that that Jewish pride is lacking. So now this is 1953. Now today, this is something very fundamental to learn. Whether you have kids, you don't have kids, it's a foundation. And a lot of this learning that even it's not talking to your specific situation. Besides the fact it's talking to ourselves as well, we have to have Jewish pride, but also we have to realize when we raise our kids, what are we teaching them? You know, are we teaching them, am I Jew, am I proud, or are we teaching them to look like everyone else? And learning it now sets us up. This is the achana for marriage and having good kids. This is what they're saying, that there's a lack of Jewish pride, especially with the children and the education. Al Yisrael and Jewish people, even when we're in the worst of Galus, Galus Mitzrayim, even when we were in Mitzrayim, which was the hardest Galus, what does it say? Nema, we learn, it says, and we read about this in the Haggadah, coming to Pesach, less than 2 months. I want us to get scared. We say that the Yidden were Mitzuyanim, were like awesome. What does it mean? They didn't change their names, their language, and levushim, and their garments, the way they dressed, the way they called themselves. And you imagine they're in Galus Mitzrayim. It's a bad situation. It's not good, but they stood strong with their names, with the way they spoke. They spoke also Yiddish, and the way they dressed differently. They didn't try to fit in. And in these areas, we don't have this now. And people are searching ways to make our child not look so Jewish. We want, and what the Rebbe is saying is, we want that when we teach our child and when we raise our child, the child should look like a proud Jew. Doesn't meaning I'm not buying something that looks fancy just because it looks fancy and it looks like everyone else in the street. But I want my child to stand out in a healthy, not in a, of course, an embarrassing way, or not look unkept. But the kid should feel I'm different and I'm proud and I'm a Yid. When the Jewish child goes in the street, you can see from afar, it's a Jew going. Because like we said before, the name Yisrael is a Mila. It's a great thing. But what happened in reality? We're embarrassed. And we try as much as we can to hide the fact that he's Jewish. And you see this when people go to business, you go to Manhattan, you see some from people, and they dress covering up the yarmulke, covering up the tzitzis. I remember when I was a kid, I used to go every so often to the old age home, and a lot of these people were Holocaust survivors, or they came from Europe, and they would always, I remember there's something that stood out for me a lot. They'd always say, why are your tzitzis out? Put your tzitzis back in. Not everyone wants to see you Jewish. Now, granted, they're coming from a place that they in Europe, they had a lot of anti-Semitism, and they try to do want to stick up, they don't want to get beaten up and all that. But now in America, or in the Western culture anymore, it's not dangerous. You don't put away tzitzis, it's dangerous. Here, they're ever saying, especially talking about in America in those years, is about people wanted to fit in, like enough with the old country. We're in the new country, let's just fit in and don't stand out, and I don't want to be synonymous with being Jewish anymore, leave me alone. And even in the front people, it was so hard. And so they was pushing, they were saying, no, this is how you have to be proud. Your kid should be recognizable as Jewish. And us now, like for example, a simple example, you give a kid a haircut with the payas. It's funny to see how many kids, and my kids talk about it, like I see other kids with such small payas, how the kid going to recognize the whole Indian of payas, especially at a young age. I'm not saying it has to be like a crazy, wild, out of control. It look like a mensch. No one's negating, it should look like a mensch. But together with that, it should be proud. The kid should feel that he's Jewish wherever he goes, and also like the way he dresses, the way he looks. and the way he acts, everything should be. It's very Jewish. It should be feel very Jewish and very proud of it. Not just that he's Jewish, but very proud of it. Like you see Manhattan, like I said before, you see these people walking around with caps. You look at them from afar, so we know, and like, oh, this guy's from guy, but you don't see it. He's the payas are hidden, tzitzis are hidden, wearing a baseball cap. I remember when my wife and I just got married, we went to Eretz Yisrael for Sukkot, and we flew through Turkey, whatever it was, the cheap tickets. Someone gave us tickets, went to Eretz Yisrael. So we came to live in Esrog. So it was Chol Hamoed. It's like I went to like a kapata. I was very excited. We were wearing a kapata. And I remember when we were in Turkey, waiting to get on the flight to Eretz Yisrael, there was tons of people there, and not many look from like Jewish looking. And as we got onto the flight, you see packed, like I don't know, on the flight, so all these people, suddenly you see all these from people that were hiding. And you can tell they're hiding. Now, we're not talking about a situation where you're scared of getting hurt, but we're saying in general that the hanacha, and this is not just, meaning it's not just the dress, but it's the mindset that we impart onto our children, impart onto ourselves. I'm a proud Jew, not in a healthy way. That's what we're saying. As a Kusha Gemara, you can understand the question of the Gemara. Lagabe din aveda in regards to lost objects, like we're talking about in the beginning about lost objects, and what happened in a person. He's saying that I got lost, and if he was free, he didn't get paid to watch, so he doesn't have to do anything. Doesn't have to pay anything back. So all this discussion we had, we said the Lamali. So the Gemara, it says like this. In regards to the lost objects, it says, why did the Torah have to teach me about a sheep? What is the Torah teaching me that after return a lost object, you find a lost object, a sheep, you have to return it? Why does the Torah need to teach me this? This is obvious. You see something lost, you try to return it. What's the novel idea that Torah is teaching me that I didn't, without the Torah, I wouldn't know? By Gemara Masbira, and this the Gemara explains, said Daveda Kasha. When it's lost, it's hard. When it gets lost, when it's hard, it's a hard thing. What does that mean? In regards to an ox, chamor, a donkey, besalma, and clothing, yesh chidush bekach. There's a novel idea in this. That's why he has to tell us this. It's a novel idea that you have to try to return it. Sheyesh lachaziris aveda. Explain the Gemara. But it's not very difficult in regards to a sheep to return it for whatever reason. So Lam says be'emes says. So why is it teaching us about a seh? Why is it teaching us specifically about a seh, about a sheep that you have to return it? Seemingly it's an obvious thing. So Lafiha Amr, so the Rebbe is going to explain it in a deeper way, in a spiritual way. Lafiha Amr Le'el, we just explain this and Lahasbir Devarim B'yech Zavedes Adam. What does it mean within us? B'ktsara L'pachis, at least in a short way. So first of all, you have the Shiur. What's a Shiur? An ox? An ox is goring. It's nagach. It's powerful. It's a strong thing. It's nagach. What does that all mean? And we're going to learn all these things. What it means in terms of Nefesh Bahamas. Chamor, the donkey, is Shalimroish Shishamish. Shimesh Hashem. Shishemesh Havaye. B'toikef T'kufas Tammuz. Clearly, even though the son of Hashem, meaning godliness is being revealed like in Tammuz, which is very hot. There's a lot of spirituality. And nevertheless, the chamor, the donkey, he's cold, apathetic. That's another issue. Nefesh Bahamas. That type of Nefesh Bahamas. Salma, you have the clothing, a beged, boigdim, Torah mitzvahs. You have clothing, garments of Torah mitzvahs. But b'chol elu and all of these, yesh chidush b'kach shehem musugalim lashuv. So back to what we're saying, all of those is an easy way to return them. Meaning to return yourself when you get lost spiritually. If you're a seh, if you're a shur, if you're an ox, if you're a donkey, if you're clothing, it's easy to return. And it makes sense. And either return yourself to ruchnius if your Nefesh Bahamas is taking over control. You return and you'll be healed. You'll take care of it. It'll be not so difficult. But when you have an issue, let's say positive spread out, says sheep spread out. Look about the issue with lack of Jewish pride. The only thing it has is that it's spread out among the nation, that we are minute number amongst the world. Seemingly, what's the big deal? Of course, we can learn out even more so, but if by an ox you have to return it, for sure, say you have to return. What's the big deal? And the answer is, Adarabah, say, Aveda Kasha. It's very difficult when it's lost. when a person has this lack of Jewish pride and they're trying to walk around trying to hide themselves, for that it's very difficult to return and to give them back their pride in Judaism. That's what he's saying. When you don't have the foundation, the beginning of the whole Shulchan Aruch, which is al yavosh, don't be embarrassed in front of people that make fun of you. That's the foundation of the whole Shulchan Aruch. The first thing it says, don't be embarrassed in front of anyone. So if you lack that in that, and you are embarrassed and you're afraid to stick yourself out, to stand out, so how are you going to reach the Shulchan Aruch? And that's the chiddush. This is the chiddush of the Gemara, that even when you lack the foundation of not being embarrassed, which seemingly is the foundation of everything, you can still return. There's nothing stands in the way to tshuva. You want to touch tshuva, you want to return, you want to come back. You don't have the Jewish pride. You try to hide yourself. You don't feel comfortable with Judaism. You have all these issues with it. The Rebbe is saying, even, and this is a sickness of our generation. This is a challenge we have. That's hard to stand out as being Jewish. But don't worry, you're never too far gone. And that's what we're saying. To finish off Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow. Have a great day.